Hi, my name is Ryan McEwan. I'm professor and Chuline Endowed Chair in the Department of Biology at the University of Dayton. In my research lab, we study forest ecology and in doing so provide training opportunities for graduate students and undergraduates. We're increasingly interested in ecological restoration. That's a process by which you take degraded lands and make them more ecologically functional. In many parts of the world, including the Miami Valley where we live and work, industrial development has been so extensive that we cannot conserve our way to a sustainable planet. We have to take an active role in restoring nature. In fact, the United Nations has declared 2021 to 2030 the decade on ecosystem restoration globally. There's many projects happening all over the planet. In our region, many organizations are working hard on this, and it's wonderful work. However, the scale of the issues we face, especially in the eastern United States, requires action beyond what land management agencies can do in their own parks. So Five Rivers and Beaver Creek Wetlands and many other organizations are doing great work. However, we have to think beyond just their simple park boundaries. To address the environmental issues we face as a society, we have to find ways to be welcoming to nature in human-dominated spaces. We can be welcoming to nature in cities. We can be welcoming to nature in suburbs. We can be welcoming to nature in our own backyards. We can welcome nature into our lawns. And if we do that, we're going to have a big impact because lawns take up a lot of space. According to NASA, there is now estimated 63,000 square miles of lawn in the United States. This is about the size of the state of Texas. It's a larger area than any other irrigated crop. In fact, if you take all the green on this map and compile it and press it together, it will take up a space almost the size of Texas. This is a very large area. The Great American Lawn Boondoggle is that all homeowners must maintain a 2.5-inch tall perfect monoculture of European turf grass surrounding their house. A boondoggle is a work or activity that appears to have value, but is actually wasteful or pointless. And lawn maintenance is very expensive. Americans spend around $50 billion in 2017 on lawns, and it must be much more than that today with inflation. Lawn maintenance also requires burning a lot of gasoline. 580 million gallons of gas are burned each year to maintain American lawns. And this, of course, contributes to global warming, as is evidenced from the United Nations. You can read their census report that came out in March. We also saw it here in the Miami Valley this year in February, where we set record temperatures one day after another, 70 degrees, and there was no snow at all in February. And we saw some plants responding to this, like this image of amber honeysuckle, which leafed out very, very early. There's a lot of climate change impacts caused by burning of fossil fuels, which we do when we maintain lawns. Lawn maintenance also requires poison. Homeowners apply 67 million pounds of pesticide to lawns each year on average. This includes herbicides, which kill all other plants besides the European turf grass that make up the American lawn. That is to say, herbicides destroy biodiversity in your lawn when they're spraying. That's what they're doing. Insecticides are also sprayed in your lawn, and those are to kill insects. However, those insecticides not only kill insects that might be a problem in a lawn, they also kill other kinds of insects. And in fact, they could be harmful to pollinators. Pollinators are really important because they, for example, pollinate some food crops, and they're hurt by these applications of pesticides. And we're in a global decimation of pollinators, and also something we see in the United States. These lawn chemicals are also potentially toxic to humans. There's increasing evidence that herbicides and insecticides that get sprayed on people's lawns can cause major issues if you're exposed to them, including causing cancer, reproductive effects, neurotoxicity, and other things. Lawn maintenance, of course, requires fertilizer, and the US EPA estimates that on average Americans use around 70 million pounds of fertilizer each year for lawn maintenance. Oftentimes, those fertilizers are poorly applied. As you can see with these granules on the pavement, those get washed down the pavement, onto the street, down the street gutters, into these grates, below the streets, into pipes, through the pipes to streams, lawns to streams, streams to the rivers, rivers to the sea. And when these fertilizers arrive in large water bodies, especially the nitrogen and phosphorus, they can cause major issues. We see this in Lake Erie where they have these algal blooms. Those algal blooms are driven by pollution from fertilizer that's coming off the landscape largely. And those algal blooms then feed back into the human system because they can produce some toxic compounds. And in fact, in August of 2014, 500,000 people in Toledo woke up in the morning and there was no water available to them because it had been poisoned by this algal bloom. So when we fertilize our lawns, we have potentially very broad scale impacts on on human society that are negative. How do we escape this great American lawn boondoggle? My proposal is the Quilt Lawn, a biodiverse, never sprayed, seldomly mown lawn where grass is interspersed with naturally occurring, short-statured, flowering plants. Why a quilt? Well, quilts are colorful. Each one is unique. They're often made from random scraps. The creator has the opportunity to express themselves in terms of pattern and color, and they make you feel happy. My grandmother was a quilter in the Appalachian tradition. This is one of her quilts on this slide, and the quilt lawn above it. Many times I saw my grandmother collecting just scraps of cloth and turning it into something beautiful. You can do that in your own lawn. How do you do this? Step one, free your mind. A lawn is a beauty standard, and as with all beauty standards, it may be helpful for you to ponder, who does it benefit for me to maintain this look, and is this a healthy way to live? To maintain these standards, is it right for me to spray my little slice of heaven that I've been gifted with poison that kills everything but the European turfgrass? It's poison that creates the monoculture of turfgrass. Is it okay for you to be spraying those compounds? You can also free your mind by deconstructing the stigma surrounding having a weedy lawn. Then you can help others along the way by advocating for quilt lawns. So if you see in the summer clover in someone's yard, like you can see in this image, instead of going, wow, what a weedy mess, you can think, wow, those plants are helping those insects. And maybe that person has taken ownership of sustainability in their own property where they live, the thing they control, and are making a positive impact on the planet. Step two is stop spraying. Stop spraying poison and stop spraying fertilizer. And if you do that, you'll get paid to save the planet. Fertilizer treatments and pest control treatments on an average lawn across the country, this costs around $1,300 per year. So you're getting paid that much money to just stop spraying to save the planet. Once you have a quilt lawn and your lawn becomes more biodiverse, you probably can spray a lot less water too to keep it green. And watering and irrigation systems are also quite expensive, so you can get paid to save the planet. Step three is mow less often. The less you mow, the better, but the science says no more frequently than every 3 weeks. And once you do this, again, you will get paid to save the planet instead of paying $100 for each mowing event. That's on average. For the fewer times you mow, the more money you get. And some places are actually promoting regional activity. For example, Ann Arbor, Michigan has No Mow May, where they try to get everyone in the whole region to not mow for the whole month, so that this helps with biodiversity, it helps with climate change, and it's a more sustainable way to be. Step four is spontaneous biodiversity. In the realm of ecology, diversity is strength. The traditional American lawn is the opposite of diverse. It is a monoculture that is maintained by poison. There are many species of low-growing, flowering plants that will spontaneously appear in your lawn if you just stop spraying poison. Step five is to enjoy the quilt lawn. As with a regular quilt, it should be enjoyable. You can experiment. If you're worried about what your neighbors will think, you can only go for a quilt lawn in the backyard. If you want to go further, you can plant some native plant seeds and start to think about colors and shapes and patterns that make you feel happy. And a quilt lawn is only one of a spectrum of options. You can also add native wildflowers and trees to your yard. In larger beds, you can create what we call a pocket prairie. Volunteering is really important. What if you don't have a lawn? Well, you can get involved. And helping change rules and educate is another way. You can advocate in your region. A lot of organizations are working towards making city ordinances more welcoming to nature. So you can participate in that as well. And if you're interested in any of this, you can reach out to me at mcewanlab.org and ryan.mcewan@udayton.edu. Send me an email. I'll be happy to engage. Thank you.